Hi guys, and welcome back to Learn Extra Live grade 12s. We have about 15 minutes left to the show, so let's actually I'm not going to waste any more time. I'm going to send you straight to Peter. Peter, take it away.
Hi, and just before the break, we landed up with this most horrific formula that was on the board, okay? And there it is. Now, something that just jumped to mind was this, that some people might look at this and say, "Hey, Peter, my teacher hasn't done this kind of formula before. How can we have this in a final exam?" Let me just tell you, there's something in your syllabus called substitution. And you can be given any formula to substitute in, as long as this examiner has done, they have told you what the F means, the X means, the R means, okay? If the examiner tells you what all those weird and wonderful figures are, or letters mean, then they can give you any formula because you've got to know how to substitute. Okay, it's one of the skills you have to know.
Pete?
So, yeah?
Thank goodness for our mindsetters, but maybe, okay, Pida, I hope I'm saying your name right, mindsetter. I think they said that needs to be a plus over there. She said, you said, shoo, you wrote the wrong formula. It's supposed to be X, open brackets, 1 plus.
There we are. Absolutely.
There you go.
Sure. Thank goodness for mindsetters. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks,
Otherwise,
guys.
you know what, hey? We would have landed up with a horrific answer and we wouldn't have known where we'd gone wrong. Okay.
So we had to fix it all quick.
So we've put all these figures in, and now what we're going to do is we're going to type it into our calculator. Now, guys, if you have a calculator, a good old Sharp or Casio, or a calculator that has a fraction button, then this stuff is straightforward and basic because you type it the way you see it. And guys, let me just give you a little hint here. If you don't have a calculator that has that fraction button, and what do I mean by that fraction button? If we look at our screen here, it's this button right over here. Oops, now I've just thrown the calculator away. There it is. It's this fraction button here, the one just below the word abs, okay? And we're not talking about my abs. That's a totally different thing. It's a math thing. But this fraction button where it's actually got this symbol here. It's difficult to show it to you, so let me just draw it. It's this symbol over there, okay? And this one is shaded in. Sometimes it is, sometimes it's not shaded in. It could just be a little block over another little block. Okay, so that is my fraction button. And seriously, get yourself a calculator that has one of those. You know, if you don't have one and you don't have money to go and buy one, then go to your folks or go to the neighbors and say, "Listen, I'm desperate to have a calculator. Do you mind if I work in your garden? Do you mind if I take out your trash? Do you mind if I do something for you? And even if you just give me like 20 Rand a day or whatever the case, I just need to make 100 Rand or something like that just so that I can go out and get one of these calculators because it's going to make my life so much easier at the end of the year when I do my final matric paper." Okay, so let's have a look at this. Right, fraction button. First thing, 3,000. Open brackets, open another bracket. 1 plus fraction button, 0.108 all over 12, close, let's get rid of that, close bracket, okay. Now we can see that it's minus 1, so we're going to say minus 1, close bracket, all over, at the bottom, we got a fraction button, 0.108 over 12. Sure, guys, I'm glad there's a thing like a calculator. I want to tell you something. When I was at school, geez, now I'm sounding old, hey, but it's true. When I did matric, we never had calculators. How scary is that? If we got a question like this, we would have to work this out ourselves manually. That just took forever and forever and forever and forever. In fact, we used to have little books that were called log books, little blue books, and we would have to page through them and try and find the square of this number and the cube root of that. It was absolutely horrific. But in my day as well, this question wouldn't just be for 3 or 4 marks. It would be for a whack more than that because they knew it took you forever to do it. Okay, now all we got to do is push equals. And our answer is 3,000. Now, what have I done wrong? I've done something wrong. Okay, because our answer shouldn't be 3,000. Why shouldn't it be 3,000? Because we're putting 3,000 away every single month. And if I'm putting 3,000 rand away, I know exactly where what my problem is. Let's just go here quickly. Remember I said to you, analyze your answers. See if your answers are correct. Now, I've had a look at my answer, and I've got 3,000 rand. And I said to myself, hold on, something's wrong here. What's wrong? Well, if I'm putting 3,000 rand away for 11 months, how can I just have 3,000 rand? And that's my problem. I didn't realize how long I'm putting the money away from. Look at this formula to the power of n. And look what I've done here. Okay, let's choose a different color. I didn't put in how long I'm saving this money for. How long am I saving this money for? I'm saving it for 11 months. And so I need to put in an 11 there. Because remember, that's the number of months that I'm saving. Oy, now my answer should work out a little bit differently. So if I go back to my calculator, and I go back to my whole formula, and hopefully I don't have to type out the whole thing again. All I'm going to do is go right to that top line, and here we are. What I'm now going to do is this. By this bracket, I'm going to put to the power of 11. And now equals. Now look what happens. There it is. Sure, found the mistake. 34,525 rand and 82589. What's that 82589? It means 83 cents. So 34,525 rand and 83 cents. Okay, let's write that down because I know Indiana's got a great memory and she's already remembered it for me. 34,525 rand and 83 cents. So let's go here. Right, Indiana, and the answer was?
34,525 and 83 cents.
Okay, there it is. Right. So that's the final amount that's in the bank. Remember, she saved 3,000 rand every single month. Okay. Are we happy?
I wish I could save like her.
Because if you save 3,000 rand, if I took 3,000 rand a month and put it in under my pillow, okay, I would sleep very high eventually. But if I took it and put it under my bed, and for 11 months, 3 times 11, I'd have 33,000 rand. But by saving it with this particular bank, she doesn't just have 33,000, she's got 34,520. So she's got an extra 1,525 rand by using this bank. Right, let's move on. My next question. Here we go. Right, now, on the 1st of July 2008, Annabelle receives a 10% salary increase. Calculate her new monthly net salary. This is just like the question we did earlier where we're going to increase our amount of money. Okay, so Annabelle now has got 12,000 rand that she's getting every single month. She's going to increase it by 10%. So we're going to find 10% of that. And then we're going to add it to her 12,000 rand to find out what her new salary actually is. So 10% of that is 1,200 rand plus the 12,000 rand, which means she's going to land up then with 13,200 rand. Will you remember 13,200 rand?
I shall.
Excellent. Now, our next question is this. You know, time is marching on, and I know we said we'd look at percentile, or we'd try and think about looking at percentiles and quartiles. And that came from
Lindy Erasmus.
Lindy Erasmus, if I can just say this, to look at percentiles, all right, we actually need a whole graph of percentiles. So we're going to have to look at that next week as well. And I'll bring one of those into the studio and we'll have a look at that. So that's tax we've got to look at next week as well as percentiles. Okay, and then we'll look at all those different charts and try and work out things from that. So if you are patient with us, hang on till next week, Thursday. That's tax and percentiles we'll look at. All right, sorry we can't do it, but we really need all that kind of data to be able to answer questions like that. Okay, let's move on with this. So Annabelle buys a new car. She finds that she has to budget 3,900 rand per month for the car to cover the cost of petrol, repayments, insurance, and maintenance. However, she no longer has to pay for public transport. Determine her new total monthly expenditure. Okay, so let's have a look at this expenditure account. Here it is here. Now, the first thing we need to understand is Annabelle's bought this car. And this car is going to cost her a total of 3,900 Rand every month. So the first thing I'm going to say here, and I'm going to try and find a spot to write it in. Let's do it here, okay? I'm going to say her vehicle. And her vehicle, we know, comes to an amount of 3,900 Rand. And we have to add that to her monthly bill. But there's something we've got to deduct. Because she now has a car, she doesn't need to use her public transport. That's gone. No longer here. She's saving 700 Rand every month. But she's actually paying out 3,900. So what now is her monthly expenses? Well, it was 8,400. So let's do this on our calculator, shall we? It was 8,400. I'm moving my calculator here so we can see what we're doing. Okay? So 8,400 Rand was her expenses. We're subtracting 700 Rand because she doesn't need the public transport anymore. But we've now got to add 3,900 Rand because she now has her vehicle. So her new expenditure, or the amount she's now got to pay out every month, is now 11,600 Rand. So let's write that down straight away. 11,600 Rand. Okay? Does that make sense to you? Guys, if I were you, when you answer this question, and we always struggle for time here, and that's why I try and do it quickly, just or explain the concept. But the way you should have actually have done that is said, right, her expenditure, okay, minus her transport, or the public transport, plus her new vehicle. And then you would have said 8,400 minus the 700 plus the 3,900 Rand. And then you would have got to your answer of, what was it again? 11,600. Okay. And then they would have looked at that, and that's how you would have picked up all your marks. We got 4 minutes, so let's try and get to our next question.
Let's do it.
Let's try to do it. Okay. So, in her new car, Annabelle travels a distance of 18 kilometers to her workplace in approximately 15 minutes. Determine her average speed in kilometers per hour. Use the formula. Distance is equal to speed times time. Okay. All right. So, let's do this quickly. So, we know she travels a distance of 18 kilometers. So her distance is 18 kilometers. Her speed is what we are going to try and work out. Her time is 15 minutes. Now, folks, the problem we have is this, that our answer has got to be in kilometers per hour. But do you notice that the question has given me 15 minutes? So I have to change 15 minutes to hours. Okay. Now, please do never, ever, ever do this. Say 15 minutes is equal to 0,15 hours. You may not do it. Jy mag dit nie doen nie. Angas. Okay? Why not? Because minutes, there are 60 minutes in an hour. Okay? Whereas a decimal system is out of 100. So to convert minutes to hours, we've got to take the number of minutes and divide it by 60. So that's what we've got to do here. So you cannot say 15 minutes is 0,15. No way. Instead, what we should be doing is saying 15 minutes over 60. When we do that on our calculator, we're going to get 0,25, because 15 minutes is a quarter of an hour. So let's change this straight away. And we're going to say, right, let's take out this 15 minutes. So we've got 18 kilometers is equal to speed times 0.25 hours. So what's my speed going to be? Well, it's going to be kilometers per hour, or kilometers, what's per mean? Divide. So kilometers per hour is kilometers divided by hours. We got 18 kilometers. We are going to divide it by 0.25 hours. So let's do that with our calculator straight away. And we're going to take our calculator back to this side of the screen. Why? Just because I want to. Okay, so we've got 18 divided by, oopsie, sorry, let's get rid of that, over 0.25 equals, and we get 72. So my speed, when I get a pen, my speed is 72 what? 72 kilometers per hour. Okay, that's her average speed. Hopefully, she was not driving in a 60 zone.
Hopefully.
Hopefully not, because she was averaging 72 kilometers an hour. Okay.
Well, that's not too bad.
You obviously get a lot of fines, or your dad gets a lot of fines. I don't know. Folk, that's all from me. It's been a wonderful time again. It really has. And like I said, promise you, next week we are going. In fact, I was supposed to be away and coming back Friday. I'm coming back Thursday afternoon just for your show. So I promise you we're going to be doing what's it? Tax and percentiles. And hopefully our producer won't forget that.
And I'm not going to forget, guys. So please send those tax questions. Put them onto the page. Send them into our inbox. And I will make sure that I screen grab them and get them to Peter so we can go through that in the next lesson. It's going to be absolutely awesome. So I'm so sorry that we couldn't actually go through it today. Mindsetters, grade 12s, you rock. Good luck for all of your prelims, every single one of them. We are behind you completely, 100%. And don't forget that we are here for you. Need a little bit of help, need a little bit of inspiration. Thank you, guys. See you same time, same place next week.